This huge mistake went unnoticed for decades. Budgets for Hollywood spectacles typically amount to millions of dollars. Prominent figures and even more renowned celebrities frequently collaborate to create unparalleled visuals and narratives. Or do they? Certain matters continue to manage to pass through the gaps. These significant errors in film and television, which you likely failed to notice previously, demonstrate that perfection is not always achievable with millions of dollars. Numerous individuals have been left perplexed as to how certain errors manage to evade detection despite the implementation of numerous checks. No movie mistakes. Movie Back to the Future, year 1985. Mistake: the guitar Marty McFly played in the past wasn't released for another 4 years. A cinematic production that explores both the past and the future, particularly about time travel, appears to be an almost ideal storm of trouble. Remarkably, the science fiction classic Back to the Future nearly omitted every detail of the past, present, and future. That was the case until they approached the instrument. At the school dance, Marty McFly infamously plays a guitar and begins to play Johnny B. Goode, a feat that astounds the audience. Although being from the future grants the adolescent knowledge of non-existent concepts, it does not imply that he possesses magical abilities. Thus, the ES-345 guitar's non-release for an additional 4 years provides little explanation. Legolas goes through. Movie: The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit franchises, year 2001 to 2014. Mistake: Legolas's eyes get lighter in the second franchise. By modeling characters after those found in novels, we're provided with an initial starting point in terms of conceptualizing their physical appearance. Sadly, this also means that as soon as viewers see them for the first time, they'll have something to compare them to on the big screen. Such was the circumstance with Legolas in several films. The character appears in both Peter Jackson-directed fantasy franchises, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. We only have one question. How did the character of Legolas alter eye color across franchises when the same team of individuals was responsible for the visual effects? Undoubtedly, this is an atypical decision for the character. Swinging Spider-Man. Movie: Spider-Man, year 2002. Mistake: Spider-Man is replaced with a mannequin and the wind blows in the wrong direction. People have learned, if anything, in recent years, superhero films have been given renewed vitality. Tobey Maguire, who manned the helm of Spider-Man in 2002, was among the numerous celebrities whose mission was to embody the most renowned heroes and antagonists. Mary Jane is captured and saved by Spider-Man while he's leaping through the metropolis in one scenario. Nonetheless, upon revisiting the scene, one might discern that Spidey has been substituted with a remarkably inflexible automaton. Mary Jane's hair is deflecting one way from her face in addition, which is peculiar given that she's swaying back into the breeze. Great Gatsby scene. Movie: The Great Gatsby, year 2013. Mistake: Jay Gatsby goes from soaking wet to dry in one scene. On occasion, Hollywood will film a scene over several days to secure every single frame of flawless footage necessary to bring their creation to life. It remains uncertain whether that was the case with a specific segment of The Great Gatsby, or whether Leonardo DiCaprio possesses superpowers that have not been previously discovered. Leo's character, Jay Gatsby, enters the room thoroughly damp in the romantic drama. His suit is completely drenched and his hair is unruly, but it appears that he can dry himself completely by simply circling the room. It may be time for many of us to acquire this technique to expedite our morning preparations. Not born yet. TV show The Simpsons, year 1995. Mistake: pictures of Maggie on the wall, despite the fact that she's not yet been born. The Simpsons has been a family staple for many years. Furthermore, that's not all. Additionally, the program holds the record for the longest sitcom, animated series, and primetime television program, all of which are milestones that are unlikely to be surpassed shortly. With an extensive catalog of episodes, it's unsurprising that The Simpsons has also amassed several television bloopers. Among these instances was the episode entitled "And Maggie Makes 3." In this episode, Marge discloses to Homer that she's carrying Maggie. Consequently, how has a photograph of their third child already been affixed to the wall in the background? That's a significant foreshadowing of the appearance of their subsequent daughter. Game of Thrones TV show Game of Thrones. Year 2019. Mistake: a takeout coffee cup left on the table. The Game of Thrones drama series evolved into something that few could have envisaged. The show's enormous fan base was predicated on the fact that it was adapted from a series of novels, with many eager to see the conclusion of a tale they cherished for so long. Indeed, millions of viewers tuned in weekly to witness their beloved characters compete for the position of leader. Presumably, Game of Thrones neglected to include the segment in which coffee stores were introduced into the realm of Westeros. The audience was captivated throughout the final season until they noticed an unusual addition to the table in one scene: an unintentionally left takeout coffee cup. Even its creator stated on Star Channel that it's kind of humorous. Forrest Gump's run has an unusual timeline. Movie Forrest Gump. Year 1994. Mistake: Forrest Gump either doesn't run for 3 years or there's an error with the news. Regarding the comedy drama Forrest Gump, a particular scenario stands out to the majority of viewers. Indeed, that is the ongoing scene. Does it truly matter that Forrest runs for 3 years, 2 months, and 2 weeks, as the proverb goes? In one scene, Forrest can be seen sprinting past a barber shop where the news has come that Jimmy Carter has passed away. The occurrence occurred in September 1979. However, had Forrest been vying for office for 3 years, his campaign would have begun on July 5, 1976, before Carter's inauguration as president. The counter-argument is that Forrest began running only a few years later, since the breaking news at the time of his conclusion meant he had only been running for about a year. Appearing Necklace TV show Friends. Year 1995. Mistake: Rachel Green's necklace suddenly appears between cuts. Devoted admirers of Friends may find it difficult to identify a single moment that particularly stands out from the series. Nonetheless, much of the audience recalls the scene from Season 2 in which Ross and Julie proclaim their impending adoption of a cat. Should we bring up that embarrassing dinner date? However, the true television error occurs in a scene earlier in the episode. Rachel's in Central Perk reminiscing about everything when the scene abruptly ends and resumes, only to unveil an enchanted necklace that was absent only moments prior. Rachel may not currently possess Ross, but at least she now possesses abilities she was previously unaware of. Avatar. Movie Avatar. Year 2009. Mistake: the size of Jake's hand compared to Neytiri. Avatar was the fantasy film that significantly surpassed all others. Despite having conceived the concept in 1994 and initially intended to release it before the end of the decade, James Cameron was cognizant of the fact that technology had not yet advanced to the point where it could physically manifest his creation as he desired. The year 2009 eventually arrived when everything was prepared for the big screen. Despite decades of development, Avatar still contained a few dubious instances. When Jake leans forward and seizes Neytiri's visage, one appears. Given that the Na'vi are commonly believed to be 10 feet tall, it's puzzling how Jake's palm appears to be in exact proportion to Neytiri's visage. Willy Wonka. Movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Year 1971. Mistake: Grandpa Joe's ability to walk without being seen. Where shall we begin with Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory's Grandpa Joe? Since the 1971 musical fantasy film's initial release, numerous viewers have been captivated by Grandpa Joe's ability to leap from bed at the drop of a hat, which was inspired by the adored children's book. Nevertheless, that's not the sole cinematic error. How did Charlie's grandfather, Joe, acquire the chocolate bar to begin with? He was, after all, expected to be incapacitated for 20 years. Did nobody observe his abrupt departure? Was he not questioned by anyone upon his return? Grandpa Joe must provide some explanation. Unusual addition. Movie Gladiator. Year 2000. Mistake: gas canister left on the chariot. Ancient Romans were renowned for an abundance of qualities. They contributed to the development of several enduring items and constructed roads that would have put many construction laborers in disgrace. Nevertheless, it's highly improbable that they were equipped with gas canisters during that era. They would have retained them as one of the most effectively concealed secrets if they had done so. The crew of the historical drama film Gladiator in 2002 exerted every detail to replicate those renowned chariot races. The issue is, they neglected to conceal or remove the gas canister from one of the chariot's rears. Once one is aware of its existence, it becomes nearly impossible to neglect something simple to overlook. Teleporting extras. TV show Friends. Year 2004. Mistake. Extras seem to teleport around the city. A distinction exists between sitcoms and Friends. The classic inverted the genre and remains one of the most enduring examples of its kind. Millions of people tuned in for the season finale to find out whether Ross and Rachel would reconcile to see Monica and Chandler welcome their twins. Phoebe and Ross hurry to the incorrect airport in one scene in an attempt to prevent Rachel from boarding the aircraft. Perhaps they would have encountered fewer difficulties if they possessed the same abilities as the teleporting extras, who appear to shift from one airport to the next in the twinkling of an eye. Harry Potter. Movie Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Year 2002. Mistake. Cameraman in the background. Unexpectedly, a camera operator appeared. Few franchises have achieved the same level of popularity as Harry Potter. The fantasy series originated as novels before their cinematic adaptations. Numerous Potterheads have devoted countless hours to rewatching their beloved films, which has allowed them to identify some of the most egregious errors concealed throughout its franchise. One of these appeared in The Chamber of Secrets, the second film. The intended focus of the scenario is a duel between Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter. The issue is, numerous individuals have been diverted from their intended focus by the camera operator who's visible in the background. It's one of those things that, once observed, is difficult to overlook.